All right, in this video, I'm gonna be going over the 6-step framework to sign 10 new high-ticket clients in just 30 days, right? This 6-step process is the exact process we take all of our clients through, regardless of where they are in their business lifecycle. And this works wonders, okay? It took Sarvesh from making $500 a month to making $16K a month with a new offer in just a 7-day span, right? It took Jefta, who had never made a single dollar online, to making $38,000 over a 3-month span, right? And this works for more experienced business owners as well. Okay, it took ETN from making $5K a month to $43K a month with his appointment setting agency in just 60 days, right? And it took Faham, okay, a real estate marketing firm, from $12K a month to $68K a month in just 90 days, right? And in this video, I'm gonna be going over this framework in its entirety. So if you want this process and framework implemented into your own business, completely done for you, then head to the first link in the description. All right, with that out the way, let's move on to step number 1, which is creating a 100 million build and release offer. 100 million referring to Alex Hormozi's value equation, and build and release referring to selling an infrastructure, not just a commoditized done for you service like the rest of your market's doing. Now this is mandatory, right? You can't expect to sign 10 new high ticket clients in 30 days if you're selling an offer that one, nobody actually wants, okay? Number 2, an offer that's commoditized, that they can just go to Joe Schmo down next door and get the same exact thing for a cheaper price, right? And number 3, if it's an offer that doesn't completely leverage their time, right? And it takes way too much time for them to actually get the result that they want out the program, right? And these are the 3 components of a 100 million build and release offer. It solves every single objection that you can face on a sales call, okay? It solves the product objection, it solves the price objection, and it solves the lifestyle objection, okay? And it does this, right, by creating an offer that, number 1, solves the entirety of their gap, right? Meaning that it takes their most inherent desire, which in your case, right, as a coach, consultant, or agency owner, is money. And it allows them to fully bridge the gap, okay, from where they are currently in terms of money to where they want to be in terms of money, okay, in a very short time span, right? Number 2, it's an offer that's uncommoditized, meaning it's different from the rest of the done-for-you consultancies, service providers, agencies in your industry, okay? It allows you to be different in the market, right? So you're not competing on price, because we know that the only way to become competitive on a commodity is by lowering your price. And you don't want to get caught in the trap of that, okay? And number 3, it's creating an offer that's leveraged, not only for yourself, so you can actually grow your business at scale, but also leverage in the fulfillment for your customers. So they're not slaving away, right? Working 4 or 5, 6 hours a day to make your program actually work. Now, I'm not going to go super in detail with offer stuff in this video because I just made a full 40-minute breakdown. So if you want a full offer masterclass, click the video that you should see pop up on your screen right now, but I'll go over it very briefly in this video as well, right? So when we look at Alex Hormozi's value equation, okay, which is dream outcome times perceived likelihood of achievement divided by time delay times effort and sacrifice, we know that we want to maximize the top line and decrease the bottom line, or rather the top of the equation we want to increase and the bottom of the equation we want to decrease. So let's break down each aspect one by one, right? Let's start with dream outcome. And what you need to understand here is that if you just listen to what I have to say, you're going to have an insane competitive advantage in the market, okay? Because what most service providers sell doesn't solve the entirety of their customers' gap, right? So let's take a look at a BizOps offer, for example, right? So a B2B coaching or agency, okay? That's essentially selling to other coaches, consultants, and agency owners, right? Now, what most of these people in the BizOps space are offering, right, is something like views, booked appointments, followers, clients. What they're doing is they're selling attention and leads, okay? Now, I want you to think about this, right? If I were to just plug in attention and leads into your business, would that truly bridge the gap from your current situation, whatever it is you're making right now, to the desired situation that you want to get to in the next couple of months? Well, I'll tell you right now, regardless of what you might think, the answer is no, okay? Because if the attention is going to a shitty offer, then you're never going to make any money, right? And even if your offer's dialed, right? And even if you're able to get attention to that offer, if you can't actually convert that attention into consultations and then into clients at a high ticket price, you're never going to scale to the 50, 100K a month that you actually want, which is part of the reason why my offer does so good in the market, okay? Where I help coaches, consultants, and agency owners, right, not get views, booked appointments, followers, or clients, okay? But I guarantee them money, right? If you want to know my offer, I guarantee an additional 50K in new revenue as long as they meet the pre-qualifiers in 90 days, right? And the reason I'm able to guarantee something like that, okay, is because I solve the entirety of their gap, right? I help them first solve for a really strong offer. Okay, an offer that number one, speaks to the market's most inherent desires. Okay, number two, an offer that's leveraged so they can actually grow their business at scale. And number three, an offer that's uncommoditized, so they're different from the rest of the people in their industry, right? This is kind of what I'm explaining to you right now. And then what I do, right, is I help drive attention to the offer, okay? Because again, the offer itself is not enough. If I were to just do an offer audit and sell that, it would never bridge the gap, because if they don't know how to get attention to the offer, they're never gonna make money. And then I help develop processes and I place talent to actually help convert the attention they have into first consultations and then into clients. That is why my clients are able to get the results that they do. They're able to refer them to their friends and their colleagues, and I'm able to make a crazy offer on the front end, right? Offering 50K in additional revenue to people's businesses. Now imagine if you could do the same for your business. Now, if you're wondering how you can actually figure out the gap, okay, then just understand, okay, that all the gap is every single roadblock your clients can face in achieving their dream desired situation. Okay, so for me, right, I typically do a 3-pillar pitch, because every single problem that a coach, consultant, or agency owner can have falls into one of these 3 buckets. Okay, and one way or another falls in one of these 3 buckets. Okay, but if you want to figure out your gap and you want to figure out the exact details of your offer, then what you need to do is you need to identify every possible failure scenario for your delivery fulfillment, right? Every single possible failure scenario that your clients can face in getting and achieving their dream desired situation based off where they currently are. And then once you figure that out, you want to reverse engineer the solutions. What does this look like? Well, let me take you through an example of one of my clients who's running a very similar offer to me, right? Not the exact same, but an offer where he's helping coaches, consultants, and agency owners who are already making 10K a month, but looking to scale to 50K a month, actually bridge that gap and achieve that result, right? So what he first did, okay, is he figured out every single possible way his clients could fail at achieving their dream desired situation, right? So let's look through it, right? Not generating enough reach, okay? If they're not getting enough reach and they're not getting their face out there enough, okay, and their message and their offer out there enough, they're never gonna actually be able to get the attention they need to scale, right? And if they're not actually retaining enough of the attention from the reach, right, they're also not going to be able to scale, right? You can't scale if you're not holding people's attention for long enough, okay? And if you're not starting enough conversations with the market at mass, how can you ever expect to get attention in conversations and consultations, right? And if when you're messaging people, you have a low open rate, how are you ever going to expect to turn that person into a consultation and a client, right? The same thing with prospects not replying, prospects ghosting, prospects not showing up to sales calls. And as we get to the bottom of this list as well, you can see things like closing below 30%, right? How can he ever expect his clients to get the 50K in new revenue that they want if they're not at least closing, right, 30% of their sales calls? And if they're not going to be able to scale due to their fulfillment model being unleveraged or it being too cheap, right, they're never going to get the revenue that they want in their business. So once you figure out and once you've mapped out quite literally every single possible way your clients could fail at achieving their dream desired situation based off where they currently are, then you want to create the mechanisms to avoid those failure scenarios, right? You can look through it here, okay? I'm not going to go too in detail with it, but you can see right here, he's putting quotas for how many reels they need to post, how much ad spend they need to do, how much cold outreach they need to do. He has processes in place to actually create people's offers done with them, right? And to implement different nurturing sequences to make sure people are actually going to show up to the sales call educated and ready to buy. And if his clients aren't closing at above a 30% rate, he'll fire them, right? And he'll make them place one of their internal company closers. This is all a part of his offer, okay? This is part of the reason why he's able to guarantee such a crazy result, okay? Now, a key thing to note here, okay, is that the best coaches, consultants, and agency owners are also the best capital allocators, okay? So by no means, okay, as you're thinking through this process and as you're creating this offer that solves the entirety of your customer's gap, do you need to think that you need to create all of this before you start selling it? It is perfectly okay and completely ethical, okay, to validate your offer with the market before you actually start creating it, right? You don't want to create an offer, okay, and spend months and months building out just to figure out that nobody actually wants it. So what I'd recommend you do, okay, is actually pitch this offer, create this offer, right? Create it a way where you can actually present it, okay? And then pitch it on a sales call. And then, okay, if the client says yes, right, then take some of the money that you got from that deal and take it, right? And put it through different systems, put it through different processes, right? Hire someone to actually help out with the fulfillment. Money talks. And if you're selling hyper high ticket prices, as you can when you solve the entirety of your customer's gap, then you're going to be able to take some of that money, right? And invest it in the people and processes and systems that are better and smarter than yourself, right? This is what all of the smartest coaches, consultants, and agency owners are doing. All right, now that we've created an offer that actually drastically increases their dream outcome, right? By selling something that speaks to their most inherent desires and actually creating it in a way where they can get that result, we now need to make our prospect believe they can get that result, right? We need to increase their perceived likelihood of achievement. And the easiest way to do this is through risk reversal, right? So inside of perceived likelihood of achievement, right? Inside of this entire value equation, okay? Perceived likelihood of achievement actually has a mini equation inside of that, right? So if we take a look at it, okay? It's perceived likelihood of achievement equals conviction times social proof times guarantee, right? Conviction meaning your sales skills, okay? How confident you can convey your offer on your sales call. Social proof, referring to the actual results and case studies that you've gotten, okay? Now, if you're watching this video and you're just trying to sign your first couple of clients, then you likely don't have much social proof and you likely don't have much conviction, okay? Which is why we need to optimize for what we can, which is a guarantee, okay? Now, the important part of this is that this guarantee needs to be conditional, okay? Because you don't want to be guaranteeing something to someone, okay, who doesn't actually take the steps necessary to achieve the result that you're promising them in the first place. So all a conditional guarantee is, okay, is first figuring out the leading indicators to success for your clients, right? The leading indicators that would make it completely unreasonable for your clients not to achieve their dream desired situation with your program. And then just breaking down what they must have tangibly done to receive the guarantee if they don't achieve their dream desired situation that you're offering with your program. So let's take a look at an example here, right? With the BizOps offer, okay? Helping coaches, consultants, agency owners scale, right? Figuring out the leading indicators is pretty simple, okay? Well, you need to be generating attention, okay? You need to have an offer that actually resonates with the market, right? You need to be having enough conversations with the market. You need your prospects actually showing up, and you need to actually be closing the prospects that do show up. Very simple, right? And then this is breaking down what tangible things, as they relate to these leading indicators, these clients must do if they actually want to receive the risk reversal, right? If they actually want their money back. So a good example, and by the way, this is not my offer by any means, right? This is just an offer I've helped build out for one of my clients, but for him, okay, the things that he's making his clients do to actually receive the guarantee, okay, is to post a minimum of 5 short form content pieces per week, right? He's requiring them to spend at least $50 a day in ad spend, and he's requiring that their setters, that their outbound setting team is sending at least 300 messages a day. He's also requiring that the client follows his company's recommendations on offer formation and market selection, right? Because he can't actually guarantee them the financial result that he's selling if they're not following the recommendations for creating a super strong offer that his market actually wants, right? They're never going to be able to scale. Among many other things, including placing a company closer if the client's closing rate falls below 30%, right? Now, if that client does all of these things and they still can't achieve the result that my client was offering them, then he's going to have to actually, fulfill on the guarantee. But the idea is, okay, that if they do all of these things, it should be impossible for them to fail because you're figuring out the leading indicators that would make it unreasonable for them not to succeed. Now, obviously, these conditions are just on the back end, right? But on the front end, okay, you can pitch something like, I will add 50K in new revenue to your business in the next 90 days, guaranteed or you don't pay, right? Or something like, we will double your monthly revenue for your high ticket offer in 120 days, guaranteed or you don't pay, right? This is awesome. This is an awesome offer with a large dream outcome, okay? And actually a high perceived likelihood of achievement as well, because you're creating something with a guarantee that shows how confident you are. Now, another important thing to increase a prospect's perceived likelihood of achievement, okay, is to make it uncommoditized, right? And you do that, okay, through what I like to call productization, right? It's productizing your offer and giving your unique process a name. Now, the reason you want to do this, okay, is, for example, let's say you're an ad agency, okay, and you run ads for your clients to get them the result that you're selling, okay? If that's what you're doing, right, and you're just telling people like, yeah, I'll run your ads for you, then you're a commodity in the market, okay? And people aren't going to believe that they can actually succeed with your program because guess what? They've already tried ads before and it hasn't worked. They've already been burned by ad agencies. So what you need to do is, even if ads is your main mechanism, right, for getting results for your clients, then you need to productize it and give that process a name, right? So for example, okay, you could sell the 7-hour funnel, right? That an ad system that actually, nurtures prospects for the 7 hours that's necessary to get them to actually want to buy the product or service, right? I'll go over the 7-hour rule later in this video, right? If you're selling a YouTube growth offer, okay, you could sell the evergreen YouTube system instead of being, oh, I'm a YouTube coach showing my YouTube inner circle, right? It's commoditized. Nobody wants that. Nobody cares, right? And you can't differentiate yourself from your competitors when you just sell that. The same way you can sell the appointments accelerator, right? This is actually one of my clients' ETN's offer, okay? Where instead of just being an appointment setting agency, he's selling the infrastructure, the product of appointment accelerator that gets these types of results. Okay, and even my unique mechanism, the attention vacuum. So if you want like more in-depth of an explanation, again, you can click the video that pops up on the screen right now and you'll get a full breakdown of how you can actually go about creating a really strong guarantee and perceived likelihood of achievement. But let's move on to time delay, right? And decreasing the bottom of this equation, right? Which is decreasing time delay and decreasing effort and sacrifice required for your potential clients, right? And you do that by creating number 3, a leveraged offer. Now to figure out how you can actually go about creating a leveraged offer, okay, you first need to understand, okay, what the unleveraged fulfillment model is, right? And the unleveraged fulfillment model, meaning the model that most coaches, consultants, and agency owners are following. Now this model, okay, consists of essentially the 3 pillars of fulfillment, right? Which are really the only 3 ways to go about fulfilling on anything, right? The problem is though, is that these pillars of fulfillment are, I guess, implemented, right? And attacked in the wrong way. Where insights, okay, which essentially means the things that your clients need to know, right? The things that your clients need to know to achieve the results that they need, right? Those insights are implemented by hand-holding on client coaching calls, right? 4, 5, 6 coaching calls a week, right? Whether it be one-on-one or group, okay? Where the service provider is essentially just sharing information that they know that their clients need to succeed. Number 2, there's systems, right? So the resources that they actually need to get the results that they're offering, okay, are resources that these clients, or rather these service providers, are having their clients create. And the people helping them get the result, right? The talent involved, the people involved, ends up just being the client themselves, right? This is how the fulfillment model for most coaching and agency business now looks like, right? Where their insights, the knowledge that they need is just conveyed through hand-holding on client coaching calls. The systems, the resources that they need are stuff that they have to create, and the talent, the people involved, ends up just being the client themselves with no support, okay? We want to move away from this, okay? And we want to move towards the infrastructure fulfillment model. Now, essentially what the infrastructure fulfillment model is, right, is it takes the 3 pillars of fulfillment, insight, systems, and talent, and it creates it one time, and it allows you to release those pillars, okay, into their clients' businesses, into their clients' lives. So for example, okay, insights, right? So the things that their clients need to know, right, are conveyed through video modules, okay? So that the service provider can create it one time, can answer the common questions, right? The common things that their clients need to know, right? Created in a course, created with the video modules, right? And let the clients watch it on their own accord, right? And review it whenever they want. And for the systems, right? The resources that their clients need, right? The resources that their clients are going to need to actually get the results that they want, okay, are templated plug and play resources, right? It's not resources that they have to create from scratch, but it's something that they've built out one time and they're able to actually implement immediately into their clients' businesses so that they can see results with them. And talent, right? They place talent to take some of the menial tasks off of their client's plate, right? And help them along their journey. And talent, right? This talent allows the actual client, right, to focus on the higher leverage activities for their business, right? Whether it's creating content, taking sales calls, okay? So they don't have to worry about stuff like editing, time stamping, the list goes on, right? So what you need to do is you need to package these, right? Package these to create a repeatable process and define the clear deliverables so that you're truly able to productize your offer, right? We talked about productization through the naming of it, but also through the fulfillment model is how you can productize it. And what this will do is it will allow you to move away from selling a commoditized consulting service, right? And into selling an infrastructure where all you need to do is help implement the processes that you already built one time, not only saving you a lot of time, but also saving your clients a lot of time. Okay. Hopefully you've thought about now how you're going to reframe your offer, right? Turn it into a 100 million build and release offer, right? An infrastructure that solves the entirety of your customer's gap, right? An offer that's uncommoditized and different from what the rest of the market's selling, and an offer that's leveraged for your clients and the fulfillment of it, right? So if you've done that, and if you've at least thought about doing that, okay, then we can move on to step number 2, which is creating a belief breaking, right? Or a process selling VSL. Now, what this is, okay, it's a 10 to 15 minute video sales letter designed to shift the core limiting belief of your ideal avatar and showing them the process, right? The process that took you from your past struggles to your current desired situation, right? So all it is a VSL, okay, but it's a VSL with the core purpose, okay, of breaking a common limiting belief of your ideal avatar and showing them the process that actually helps break that belief, overcome that belief, and show them that success is possible as it has been for you or for your clients. So let me show you an example of this. And I'll actually show you my example, right? The VSL that I'm still running to this day, right? Now I might change it up in a little bit, but as of today, this is the VSL that I'm running, right? So it starts with step number 1, okay, which is calling out your dream client and sharing your offer, right? So my VSL will start with something like coaches, consultants, and agency owners looking to scale to 100K a month in revenue. This presentation is very likely going to break many of the beliefs you have about client acquisition and show you exactly how to get to your first 6 and even 7-figure months, right? So immediately calling out my dream client and sharing the offer I have with them right off the gate, okay? And then it's showing social proof to eliminate skepticism, okay? Because by now what you've done is you've essentially started the video, okay? And you've made this crazy offer to you, okay? And they're gonna think you're full of shit because most people are full of shit and they can't actually fulfill on their promises in the market today. So you need to show that you're not full of shit, okay? So you wanna show social proof, right? And you wanna add any assets you have that are humanized, right? Whether that's text messages, before and after pictures, video testimonials, right? You can see I have all 3 here. I even have more on my VSL that I just didn't include in this Miro board. Now, if you're wondering if you need a lot of social proof to create a process selling VSL, then you definitely don't, okay? If you don't have a lot of social proof, then feel free to use yourself as a case study, right? So if you personally have gotten like big amount of revenue for yourself, okay, feel free to use that as a case study, okay? Or, okay, use other people who have implemented a similar process to what you're selling, right? So if there's a big guy in the market, okay, a big fish in the market who's implementing and using a process that you're talking about in your VSL, then feel free to use them as kind of a social proof for the process selling VSL, because what you're doing is you're in the VSL, you're selling a process. All you need to do for step number 2 is essentially justify and validate the claim that you're making, right? So if you have social proof, that's awesome. If not, you can just share anything, right? Share anything that allows you to essentially substantiate your claim. Okay, by no means do you need a crazy amount of social proof, right? I use it because I have it, okay? But if you don't have it, don't allow that to be a limiting belief for you in actually creating a strong VSL because you don't need it. Okay, so let's move on to step number 3 because now you've given them this crazy offer, okay? Now you're showing social proof and they're thinking like, well, who the fuck are you, right? Who even is this guy offering me the fucking moon and showing me all this, like all these results? Who is this guy, right? So introduce yourself. Okay, so if you've been in the industry for a while, state the time, right? I've been in online marketing for around 4 years. So I state that in my VSL, okay? And make sure that your introduction actually relates to your clients. So like, what has your business actually done for your dream clients? So I'll show you an example right here, right? If you don't know me, my name is Shayan Maradia, okay? I've had over 4 years in the online marketing space. I've been internationally published in secular business competitions. I'm nearing $1 million in that of client revenue, 1 million followers, 100 million views, right? And built one of the largest partner growth companies in the entire industry, right? I talk about what this growth company is known for doing, right? Which is helping partners double, triple, 5x their client revenue, okay? With my unique mechanism, a proprietary in-house client acquisition system, which I don't specifically name here, but I'll segue into that in a second, right? And then I show something that I'm really proud of, right? The fact that I was able to buy my dream daily BMW, okay, M340i, in cash over just a 6-month span of running my new business. This is something that my audience, right, which is young males, is actually something that really speaks to them, right? A lot of young males are into cars, and that's something that they love, right? I also talk about some of the entities my clients have went on to work with, right? With Daily Mail, whatnot, Keller Williams, AKDN, just to name a few. So that brings us to step number 4, which is establishing experience in your client's current situation, which is your past situation, right? Because what you've done so far is you've made a crazy offer. You've showed a bunch of social proof, and now you're boasting about yourself, essentially, okay? So now they think you're an asshole, okay? People buy from people they know, like, and trust, right? Like is the second part of that equation, okay? You have to make them like you. And how you do that, okay, is you establish experience in the situation they're now, right? So you explain it wasn't always like this, right? You can show where you started, right? And you need to understand, call out, and relate to every single pain point that your dream client is experiencing, okay, by explaining to them that you were once just like them, right? So you can see here, I'm talking about some of the struggles, okay, that my dream clients face, right? Which is struggling to book consultations for their business, right? And thinking, Why is it that some business owners manage to scale effortlessly, live the life of their dreams, right? Do these crazy, crazy things. You can pause if you'd like, okay? And when I got prospects, okay, they were unable to afford my services, unqualified for my services, okay, and ended up actually ghosting me. These are all pain points that you likely relate to, right? If you're my dream client watching this video, okay? And it's showing that I'm not some arrogant asshole who's just flexing my results, okay? But I'm someone that actually understands my dream client because I was actually once them. Okay, so that brings us to step number 5, which is the epiphany, right? Or an opportunity switch to a new vehicle, okay? So what this is, okay, it's explaining what your realization was, okay? What your turning point was that finally set you on your journey of transformation, okay? Now this could be finding a guide or mentor. This could be discovering a new system or process. This could be having a paradigm shift. This could literally be anything, right? It could be a thought on the toilet if you want. So you can see here, okay, I talk about after years of trial and error, countless rounds of experimentation, and investing tens of thousands of my own money to figure out the answer to one simple question, right? Which is very true, okay? I spent years trying to figure out my online business, trying to figure out what I should do, what I should start, what service I should sell, right? I had countless rounds of experimentation trying a bunch of different business models, right? And I've quite literally invested tens of thousands of my own money to figure out the answer to how you can get clients online for your business, right? This is the question I was asking, okay? But, okay, I had finally found it. And it was the attention vacuum. And this is the process that I go through in the rest of this VSL, and it's actually the core component of my offer. Okay, so that leads us to step number 6, which is reinforcing why they should care, right? So now you've just spent a little bit of time talking about this new opportunity switch, right? And talking about how how I was this in the past and I was that and I was here, right? You want to reinforce why they actually care and why they're actually here, right? So you want to talk about how it's generated hundreds of millions of views, thousands of consultations, and nearly $1 million in revenue for myself and my clients, right? Now, if that's not true, obviously don't say it, okay? But reinforce why they should care, okay? Maybe if you're using a big influencer as your main case study or as the main validator of your offer, right? Talk about how it's helped them, okay? Right? And then talk about, or you can talk about, okay, how you hope that they can implement this process, this exact process that you're going to explain to them, okay, to get the dream desired result that you're selling. For me, it's 50K in client revenue in the next 90 days. Okay, and the step number 7, right, is validate the vehicle or opportunity you're sharing, okay? Because now what you've done is you've essentially explained, okay, this opportunity you have, you've explained that it gets results, you've explained that you were just like them, okay? But they're going to wonder okay, what the hell is this thing? Why does this actually work? Is this guy a scammer? What the hell is he talking about? Right? So you want to validate it and explain logically why it works. So for me, right, my whole VSL, okay, is talking about how this mechanism, the attention vacuum, solves the single largest problem that coaches, consultants, and agency owners currently face in acquiring new clients, right? So I actually start with some of the belief breaking, right? The breaking of their beliefs really early in my VSL, where I talk about how most coaches, consultants, and agency owners, okay, think their problem is one of these 3 things, right? They think it's acquisition, they think it's sales, and they think it's fulfillment. And they ask questions like, how do I book more consultations? How do I close more consultations in the clients? And how do I convert more clients into positive reviews and referrals, right? But then I tell them, okay, that they're asking the wrong questions, okay? Because when they ask those questions, right, they struggle to book calls or consultations, where half of those who do book don't show up. And the ones that do are unqualified or can't afford their service. And the ones that they do manage to sign don't stick around for very long in the first place. And then I'll say that while they're asking these questions, okay, their dream clients are asking questions like, should I trust them with my time? Should I trust them with my money and my life outcome? And should I trust them with my reputation, right? There's no trust. And then telling them, okay, that the key, and reminding them and reinforcing this point, that the key to booking qualified appointments, converting them into high-paying clients into their 7-figure business that they want, hinges on one thing and one thing alone, and that's trust. Okay, so what you want to do now, right? Step number 8 is build as much pain as possible. Okay, we know that people take action off of emotion more so than they do so in logic, right? And essentially it's the same as a sales call. Okay, if you can bridge the gap, right, and build as much pain as possible before actually making your pitch, then the chance that and the likelihood that they're going to buy increases by tenfold. Okay, so you can see in my VSL, okay, I'm talking about how if their business is not currently making them $100,000 a month, is because they are not yet positioned as a trusted expert. Okay, and I asked them a question: why would your prospects trust you? Right? Why would your prospects trust you when this is you? Right? This little black dot is them. Okay, and this is them in the market. I asked them if they remember which black dot they are. okay? And they don't, okay? Because neither does their prospect. You see what I'm doing here? I'm building the pain, okay, of them being a commodity in the market and nobody, right? Nobody understanding or seeing them for what they actually are, okay? Which is an awesome service provider who can help people, but they're just seen as someone who's the same as everybody else. Then what you have to do, okay, is you have to justify their failure, right? And this is super important, okay? Because if you leave them thinking, right, that this pain they're all in is their fault, okay, they're gonna stop believing in themselves, right? And when they stop believing in themselves, they're not gonna take action to actually, fix these problems, right? So you need to justify this failure. So you can see here that I say that it's not your fault, right? It's not your fault because we are in a trust recession, right? Person-to-person trust is at its lowest point in decades, okay? And I even have a proof. I even have a study, right, to validate this claim, right, where the Pew Research Center has found that 73% of young adults aged 18 to 29 see others as selfish, exploitative, and untrustworthy. This validates every failure they've had, right? I justify the failure they've had by essentially giving them data like, look, you're not alone, okay? We're in a trust recession, and it's just the market. It's the market's fault, right? Even though it's not. Now what you want to do is you want to show them the old service flywheel versus the new service flywheel. Right now, all a flywheel is, okay, is a sequence of events, a sequence of continual events, okay, that all starts from one action that spirals, right, and leads to just compounding returns, okay? So what I do is I contrast the lead-chasing service flywheel of despair to the trust-building infrastructure model, okay? And it all starts with the difference in action that, failing business owners take versus what 7, 8, and 9-figure business owners take. And that first action, okay, is how large of the market, or rather, how much of the total addressable market they're focused on building trust with, right? So you can see here, okay, in the first example, right, where the failing business owner is focused on direct response selling to only 3% of the total addressable market, right? Which is going to lead to them selling to hard trust leads, which is going to lead to a low volume of educated leads, longer sales cycles, low client conversion rates, and on the back end, okay, a low case volume, leading to chargebacks, disputes, and low revenue to reinvest in a client acquisition and no new money coming in to grow the business of their dreams, right? And I contrast this flywheel of consistent failure, okay, to the 7, 8, and 9-figure flywheel, right? Which starts with that business owner focusing on building trust with 100% of the addressable market, right? Making it so that they sell the high trust leads, okay? Where they have a high volume of educated leads on the sales call, leading to shorter sales cycle, one call closes, right? And higher client conversion rate, so super easy to close, okay? And on the back end, leading to a higher case volume, which leads to what they actually want, right? Which is more revenue to invest in a client acquisition and faster growth of their business as a whole. So it's by contrasting, okay, these two flywheels, okay, that I'm able to have my dream client, okay, realize that I've been doing everything wrong all along, okay? And again, when you can shift your dream client's core beliefs, right? When you can shift their beliefs and change their way of thinking, they're going to want to learn from you, right? And they're going to take the action that you want. Okay, so that leads us to step number 11, which is the grand introduction, right? So take note, okay? We haven't even went into the actual process itself yet, right? We haven't done that at all, okay? All a VSL is, okay, it's essentially a super duper short sales call, okay? Where what are you doing in a sales call, right? You're asking questions for 80% of the time, and you're actually giving solutions for 20%. The same way in a VSL, right? You're building pain, okay? And you're asking leading questions for 80% of the entire VSL, okay? And only in the last 20% are you actually explaining the process, right? So here, okay, we're actually leading up to the process, right? We're the grand introduction, right? So here's how I did it, okay? I asked them, what if you could install a system directly into your business, along with all the inputs necessary to attract the attention of 100% of your addressable market, not just the 3% that's ready to buy now, right? Educate those leads to decrease your sales cycle length, so just one sales call. Build lead trust to increase conversion rates, so super easy closes. And add 50 to 250K in monthly recurring revenue as a result. But most importantly, become the most known, liked, and trusted service provider in your entire area. Filling up your calendar, making your business more profitable, and giving you back your time and freedom, okay? That's where the attention vacuum comes in. And this is what they're gonna implement to add at least 50K in additional revenue to their business in the next 90 days, right? And I'm going more in detail with it, right? The attention vacuum is a simple 5-step framework which converts total strangers into paying clients like clockwork. And it does so by acting as a lead vacuum, which captures leads and builds trust until they are ready to be emptied into your sales pipeline. Spending the standard 7 hours building trust with your clients face to face so that you don't have to. So that you can 2x, 3x, or even 5x your business revenue efficiently and predictably. Right? You can see just 8 slides, it's actually more to have omitted a few of them, of just building up the hype, right? Making a grand introduction for this process and really iterating, okay, the benefits of the process, because we're about to go super in the weeds with one of our technical processes, right? So we want to be really clear and we want to remind them of the result that process actually gets. Okay, so that leads us to step number 12, which is explaining the process or opportunity, right? This is where the process selling part of this VSL comes in, okay? And it's super important that in this part of the VSL, you're explaining the what, not the how, right? You're explaining what this process is, okay? But not exactly how to implement it, okay? Because that's what you're going to be pitching essentially at the end of the call, right? It's going to be pitching the implementation of this process that you're going to explain to them. Okay, so for me, this is like a 20 or 30 slide explanation, okay? So it is like the longest singular step, but in the grand scheme of things, it's only a small portion of the entirety of the VSL. And that's because you don't want to go super in the weeds, right? You want to explain from a high level what these processes are and how exactly they work, right? You don't want to go super like in detail about the different SOPs that are involved and the different, leading indicators and all that technical stuff, right? You want to explain how it works from a high level, right? Like you're explaining it to a 5th grader. Okay, now once you've done that, okay, then you want to remind them why they should care, because you've just spent maybe 3, 4, 5, 6 minutes even explaining this process, right? Going super technical, right? Talking about a bunch of stuff, okay, that inherently doesn't matter to them, right? The only thing that people care about in this life are health, wealth, and relationships, right? So can it make me live longer? Okay. Can it make me more money? And can it make me more life partners, right? So I'm assuming if you're watching this video, okay, you're selling to business owners, right? Or you're selling to consumers who want to make money. So you want to remind them why they should care, right? Why this process, okay, actually matters to their life, which is making money, right? And financial freedom and location freedom and time freedom even. So for me, what I say is that this process works so well that it regularly breaks our partners' intake systems with excessive lead flow, causing them to pause their acquisition campaigns, right? And I even show like a certain instance, right? A certain instance of this happening where Faham, okay, his ads manager literally shut down, right? Because he was getting way too much intake. And then I reiterate that this is the same system that our clients have used to generate over 100 million views and nearly 7 figures in revenue. Now, this is the part where you're dropping your value stack, right? As you're transitioning towards your CTA, right? So what I say is, now if you're wondering, how do I figure out how to ideate, edit, and curate the content? How do I launch the ads? How do I manage and scale the ads? How do I find, hire, and train the appointment setters? How do I optimize my calendar and sales process to handle all of these primed, educated, and qualified leads? And you can see I move on here, okay? And I transition into blowing every other option out of the water, okay? So I'll say, optimize these leads, and ultimately you just like some clarity on how to install this inside your own business. And the inside your business part is extremely important because most businesses get caught in the trap of hiring an advertising or lead gen agency to bring in new clients because it sounds easier. The problem is though, is that when the agency leaves, so does their revenue, right? You want to own the system so that you can own your revenue, right? So that's kind of how I go about, dropping the value stack, right? So telling them, kind of transitioning towards the CTA, which is going to be book a call, obviously, if you're selling high ticket, right? I kind of sell them the benefits of that call here, right? So I've given them this entire process, right? But there's some things that I didn't get to explain, right? Because it'd be a 40 to 45 minute video if I explained everything in detail, right? So what I do is I now include the other parts of my offer, okay? Because obviously the process that you're selling is not going to be the entire offer itself. It's only going to be one process or one part of your offer. So you want to kind of bridge the rest of their gap, okay, by letting them know, like, hey, if you're wondering how you can do these things as well, right? And then now you're blowing every other option out of the water as well, right? You're kind of shitting on your competitors and explaining, right, why your process, your opportunity is better than every other option out there. Then what they can do is the call to action, okay? Where you're explaining here essentially how they can get the offer and sprinkling in scarcity and urgency as well. Now here's how I go about doing this. If you'd like some direction on exactly how you can install the system yourself, you can book a no cost, no pressure walkthrough and implementation call, where we'll show you step by step how each component of the system is installed inside of your own unique business. All you need to do is click the I want an implementation call button below and fill out the application to pick a slot that works for you. Just make sure to book fast, as the slots don't generally last very long, and we'll be happy to help, right? So you can see here, I got some of the urgency, okay? And I'm giving them the call to action on this slide right here, which for me, okay, is click the I want an implementation call button below, right? Now this VSL, it's actually put onto a sales funnel, which we'll go over in the next step. But in terms of the process selling and belief breaking VSL, right? Just remember, okay, that you want to shift a core belief of your ideal avatar, okay? And you want to explain a process, right? So not necessarily what you're going to offer them, okay, but you're going to explain to them, right? Give them some sort of free value, a process or an insight that they can implement into their business to see a quick result with, right? And then, okay, whatever's missing from that process, you're going to bridge in the gap with the actual offer and the value stack that you're pitching at the end of the VSL, okay? Now, once you've done this, okay, then you're ready to move on to step number 3, which is creating a sales funnel. Now, this does not have to be super complicated, right? I see people complicating this all the time. It's really just 3 steps. It's 3 pages, right? So number 1, okay, is your landing page, okay? A headline page, right? Something that goes, something along the lines of this, right? See how our partners add 6 figures in revenue each month and generate high-ticket clients on autopilot, right? So just very simply stating your offer, okay? You can even go more specific. You can actually say the specific offer, right? And what you're actually, offering to your clients. For me, I just go more of a general headline, okay? And you can also add a without clause if you'd like as well, right? Talking about some of the things that you do this without, okay? Then you're gonna have a recording of the VSL that you just made, right? So I made mine on Google Slides. Okay, now it's just me talking over the VSL, okay? And when you get to the last part of the VSL, right, with the CTA, talking about I want an implementation call button below, I'll have that button right here, right? I'll even have some case studies below as well and some client testimonials that you can view on my landing page as well, right? And then another implementation call button. Now, essentially, okay, what the implementation call button leads to is straight to a calendar booking page. And this calendar booking page, okay, allows them to essentially re-see the offer, right? Re-see some of the social proof, okay? And then essentially qualify themselves, right? So let's funnel hack myself. Let's say I'm booking in, okay, and I am just funnel hacking. So I ask a lot of questions on my Calendly, okay? Just the main ones that you need to know, right? Is obviously name, email, and phone number, okay? I ask for their Instagram handle just for another avenue to reach them. But I also ask them how they hear about us, right? That's super important. Figuring out where a lot of your traffic's coming from so that you can optimize and, just know your data. I also make it very clear that they need to be showing up to the call, right? And that if they do end up no-showing without rescheduling in an orderly fashion, they're going to be blacklisted, okay? I also financially qualify, right? This is probably the most important part here, okay? Figuring out that if there was 100% guaranteed return on investment, if they have the financial ability to invest in themselves, and what their current monthly recurring revenue is, right? This will allow me to determine, okay, if it's even worth taking that call with that client, right? Now for me, okay, don't worry if you want to book in a call with me. I'll take a call with whoever, okay? But for some people, they will only take calls with people that are making 5K a month and beyond, or maybe 10K a month and beyond, right? And this also gives you a better idea for the price that you're actually going to be able to pitch on the sales call as well. I also end by asking what exactly it is they're primarily looking for, right? And sometimes you'll just have people give their entire life story here, their struggles, all their pain points, and that you can use as ammunition, right, in the sales call as well, which only helps. So that's all the second page is, right? It's just a simple headline and then, your actual Calendly, right? Now, once you schedule, okay, you'll see that you get sent to this page right here, which is essentially just a thank you video, right? And all this thank you video is it's just thanking them for booking in a call, right? Appreciating their time, okay? And hyping up some of the benefits of this call, right? Explaining that, hey, on this call, I'm going to do a deep dissection of your current business infrastructure. I'm going to figure out what you're currently doing about, building your personal brand and scaling your business. And then I'm going to give you the best roadmap to actually go about scaling the 50K a month and beyond, right? So kind of selling them on the call, right? Almost hyping them up and making sure that they actually show up. But another important thing here, okay, is reminding them to watch the free training at the beginning of this funnel, right? Now, when you click this button right here, it takes them back to the first page of the funnel, okay? Because what I always like to say is that an uneducated prospect is never a buyer, right? You want to make sure that your prospects have actually watched the VSL, have actually watched the free training before they show up to your call. Or else you're going to spend half of the call, okay, explaining your process rather than actually selling it. And that's going to waste you a lot of time. It's also important that you're doing this because in some cases, you're not going to drive traffic directly to the landing page. Sometimes you might actually just drive traffic straight to the calendar page. And I'll show you some instances and examples where you might do that. So it's super important that if they just go straight to this page and then they don't get to watch the VSL, that you're redirecting them to the VSL, right? And letting them know that, hey, watching this before our call is required. Okay, so by this point, you've created a super, super strong offer, and you've created a VSL to actually communicate that offer. And now you've created a sales funnel to put the VSL on. Now you actually need to drive traffic to that sales funnel. Now there's a million different ways to drive traffic to your business, right? But if you're trying to get quick wins, if you're trying to sign 10 new high ticket clients in 30 days, I think the best way to do so is through YouTube and through ads. Okay, so I'll start with YouTube, okay? YouTube, essentially all you're gonna do, okay, is you're gonna explain different parts of your process, right? Different pieces of expertise that you have, okay? Different parts of your offer that can help partially bridge the gap from your customer's current to desired situation through long form value videos, right? Just straight value, okay? And throughout that video, okay, towards in the middle and in the end, you're gonna CTA, okay, to a calendar booking page, right? And from this calendar booking page, okay, you're gonna have a thank you page, okay? Now you're also gonna have a triager in place, right? And I'll explain what this triager does after I explain the ad campaign, right? Now, if you don't have any money, okay, now you're still looking to sign your first couple of clients and you can't put your money in ads, then go all in on YouTube, okay? Because what you have, right? If you're not working with any clients, okay, if you don't even have a proper business running yet, okay, then what you need to do first is take the most valuable asset that you have right now, okay, the most abundant asset you have, which is time, and put that time towards high leverage activities, which for you is driving traffic, so creating long form YouTube videos, right? Now, if you have money, okay, then still do the long form YouTube, but focus more of your effort, okay, on the ad campaign. So let me show you what a good ad campaign, or rather an ad creative, looks like. So what I'll do in this video, just for time's sake, is show you two examples, right? So two basic examples that are working really, really well in the market right now, okay? And it's important that you do both of these and you split test them, because depending on your offer, depending on the time that you're watching this video, one might be working better than the other, okay? So I'll start with creative one, okay? And this is just a very basic framework. This is something that Kai Bax popularized, right? And it's essentially starting with calling at the market, right? So for me, right, it's coaches, consultants, and agency owners, okay? You can also optionally, right, add in some problem that they're facing, right? So if you're targeting, fat entrepreneurs, right? You're targeting entrepreneurs who are struggling with their weight. You could say something, entrepreneurs making over $1 million a year, struggling with their weight, okay? Problem-based, right? Calling out a problem that they're facing, okay? Then immediately making your offer, right? So you want to be clear here, okay? I want to be clear here that you do not want to create desire, okay? You want to use the market's pre-existing desire, okay? And from there, channel it onto your offer, right? You want to make your offer work for ads, not ads work for your offer. Because if you try selling something and offering something to the market that nobody actually wants, that nobody desires, you're going to be fighting an uphill battle, right? But hopefully with the offer formation masterclass at the beginning of this video, that you're going to have that dialed down, right? So the video would start with something like coaches, consultants, and agency owners struggling with client acquisition. I will guarantee you an additional 20 new clients in the next 30 days, guaranteed or you don't pay, right? Something like that. Ideally, you want a revenue offer here, okay? I will add 50K new revenue to your business in the next 90 days. And you can also add without clauses, right? So what you can do, okay, is you can increase the curiosity by eliminating everything the prospect has tried in the past and eliminating everything that they think they need to do to get the results, right? So a big misconception in the coaching, consulting, and agency market is that to get a lot of clients, they need to, send a bunch of cold emails, send a bunch of cold DMs, that they need to run ads, that they need to, post content blindly every single day, right? These are all different without clauses that I could include in the beginning part of my ad creative. Then, after you've called out your market, after you've made your offer, okay, you need to logically explain why this actually works, right? Why this approach is significantly better than every other option, right? And you want to explain this by explaining why what they're currently doing isn't working and how this process, this opportunity that you're going to share, okay, is different. You want to logically explain how the process works, right? And make the prospect think, you know what, yeah, that makes sense. Then after you've done that, you want to substantiate it, okay, with results and proof, right? So any famous case studies you have, okay, client results, right? Or worst case scenario, just your personal track record, right? Like your experience in business, okay? The results that you've gotten for yourself, okay? And I assume if you're running ads, then you have at least some sort of social proof. But if you don't, okay, then you need to figure out a way to substantiate it, okay, through either, again, someone else using this process that you're going to explain or this process that you now have, or anything to essentially validate the fact that this actually works. But again, if you don't have any social proof, right? And let's say you don't even have like a large personal track record, okay? Then you just got to make sure that the explanation for why and how it works really, really makes sense. You want to make sure this part's super, super strong, because this can essentially act as you substantiating your offer just by explaining the process and making it make sense logically, okay? So once you've done that, once you've included the results and proof, hopefully you have some, okay? Then you want to end with a CTA, okay? So recalling out the market, restating your offer, and directing the prospect to take the next action, right? To receive the offer, okay? So this is like the longer version. This is the longer framework I have. Let me show you an example of me using it for my offer. So here we go. Coaches, consultants, and agency owners doing 10K a month or more. We will add 50K in new revenue to your business within 90 days, guaranteed, or you don't pay. It's very simple, right? Calling out the market, sharing my offer, okay, and adding the risk reversal as well. Now what I'm doing is I'm actually taking a little bit of a different approach, right? Where I'm almost immediately going into some results and proof, right? So I found that, you know, with how the market is right now, with so many people making these crazy offers, you just almost have to immediately substantiate yourself. So for me, what I did, I actually took the personal track record and moved it right after the offer. So I talk about, for context, my name is Shaiwan Maradia, and I've been in the online marketing space for over 4 years now. I've built my company Offerator.io to amass a client portfolio of over 65 different coaches, consultants, and agency owners, and in the process, develop the best system for getting clients online right now. Right? So remember, this is just a framework. You don't have to exactly copy it. I don't either. Okay? But then I move on to actually explaining why/how it works. Okay? So you can see here, our proprietary client acquisition system allows you to first generate attention from the market at mass, quite literally generating tens of millions of views and hundreds of thousands of followers for our client portfolio each month. And then more importantly, allows you to monetize this attention into multiple 6 figures in new monthly revenue with little to no ad spend, right? So you can see a bunch of different things in there, right? You can see kind of explaining how it works, right? So first generating the attention of the market at mass, okay? But then more importantly, okay, monetizing the attention. And also in the middle of this, okay, sprinkling in some social proof, right? About how my clients have generated tens of millions of views and hundreds of thousands of followers every month, right? And then talks about a without clause as well, right? Without a lot of ad spend. And then I go into social proof, right? So I talk about this system I'm talking about is the exact system Jeff used to launch and scale his coaching offer to over 40K in monthly revenue in just 3 months, while starting with less than 2,000 combined followers across all social media platforms. It's the same system CyberDojo used to add over 16K in new revenue to his business in just 7 days, while simultaneously adding over 30,000 followers and generating over 20 million views to his own media channels in less than a month. And it's the same system ETN used to grow from 1,000 followers to 7,000 followers and scale to over 43K in monthly revenue in just 60 days of working with us, right? Social proof, substantiating the claim I just made. And then I'm restating the offer, right? So if you think that maybe you'd be interested in experiencing the same transformation inside of your own business, or you're curious to learn just a little more about the system we use to achieve these results for our clients, without having to send endless cold emails, post content blindly every single day, or pay an ad or lead gen agency thousands of dollars per month, click the link somewhere around this video and you'll have an opportunity to view a free 15-minute training showing exactly how you can implement this system immediately to your own business, with the end result being an additional 50K in new revenue in the next 90 days guaranteed, right? So again, recalling out the market, resharing my offer, okay? And then giving them the CTA and what exactly they're going to receive with the CTA, which is a free training so that they can implement the system immediately to their own business. Okay, so that's a little bit of a longer ad creative, right? That's about a minute and a half, okay? The reason why I'm giving you 2 frameworks that I want you to test is because it's super important to split test, right? In some markets, a shorter framework, right? Markets that are more sophisticated, just a shorter framework will oftentimes work better than like a longer framework. So let me show you that framework now. So here's an example of me using it, right? So quick question for coaches and agency owners doing over 10K a month. If I told you that in the next 90 days, we'll guarantee to generate you an additional 50K in new revenue or you don't pay a single cent, would you take me up on that? I said that twice. Let me delete that. Well, if you would, then click the link below and fill out your information to get access to a free training to view exactly how you can do so. Now, if you're wondering why I'm putting my neck on the line with such a bold claim, then it's simply because our client results validated our operation to generate much more than what we're actually guaranteeing, right? Our client ETN scaled from 5K a month to 42K a month. Our client Jake went from 0 to 38K a month. Our client Faham went from 12K a month to 68K a month, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? I even end off saying something like, with all of these case studies coming just the last month alone, right? Really hammering in that point, okay? And I say, so if you'd like to take me up on my offer of me guaranteeing you an additional 50K in new revenue or you don't pay me a cent, then click the link below this video, watch our free training, and book in a call, right? So overall, just a much shorter, much more concise version of Creative One, okay? And with ads, it's super important that you're always split testing, okay? You're split testing creatives, you're split testing targeting, okay? You need to be split testing, okay, to validate what actually works and then double down on what works so that you can, put a certain amount of money in and expect a certain return back. That's when you know you've got a successful and scaled campaign. Okay, so that's the ad campaign, right? And essentially this ad campaign is just gonna be a lead form ad, okay? I think that lead form ads are the best way to go about running an ad campaign, right? And essentially it's gonna be a lead form ad where in exchange for their information, okay, they can get access to a free training, right? Which is gonna be the VSL, right? The process selling VSL that you put on your landing page, which again leads to your calendar booking page, which again leads to a thank you page, okay? But there's actually a step in between the ad campaign and the VSL landing page, okay? And that's the triager. So that leads us to step number 5. And this is the triager and lead management systems, okay? So I'll start with the triager aspect of this, okay? So all a triager is an inbound appointment setter who specializes in dialing warmer leads, right? They're designed to qualify and sell potential prospects on the benefits of the sales call with the closer and remind prospects who are already booked on about the call to increase show-up rates, right? So that's all a triager is doing. Now, the reason why having a triager is so important is because people in our space, rather the coaches, consultants, and agency owner space, have found that only around 10% of all prospects that actually give their information to Facebook on the lead format will actually go through the entire funnel and book in a call themselves, right? 90% of all prospects, okay, that give their information to Facebook are gonna end up going on a landing page, right? Maybe viewing a few seconds of VSL, maybe funnel hacking a little bit, maybe even clicking the implementation call button, but not actually booking in, right? 90%, okay? Which is why you need an actual human, right? Calling people within 5 minutes of that lead giving their information to Facebook, actually dialing them and booking them on manually. Not having a triager is probably the biggest mistake I see beginner coaches, consultants, and agency owners doing with their ad campaigns, right? You can't expect to possibly scale a good ad campaign, right, in today's market without having a triager speed to lead, right? Running to leads as soon as they come, okay? Dialing them, qualifying them, and booking them on if they're actually a good fit. Now, this triager is not only used for dialing potential leads that fill out a lead form, but it's also used for dialing leads who actually booked on, right? Now, in the 10% of cases that these people actually do book on themselves, right, without anyone having the call, right, you want a triager actually calling them and confirming that call, right? The same way through a long form YouTube video, okay, you're sending them straight to a calendar booking page, right? And for context, the reason you don't want to send them to a VSL landing page from a YouTube video is because you don't want to be redundant, right? You want to reduce sales friction and just get them straight to a booking page, right? So in the cases, right, and in the situations that they're booking on immediately, right, you want a triager book calling them, confirming that call, right? Because just because they've booked the call doesn't mean they'll actually show up, right? You want that triager essentially selling them the benefits of the call even further to actually make sure that they show up and are ready to listen, learn, and potentially buy if they think it's a good fit. So again, not only will a triager get you more book calls, but they'll actually increase your conversion rate as well, right? They'll actually end up increasing your close rate because they're actually calling these leads, right? Hyping them up, right? Selling some of the benefits, asking some pre-meditated questions they might have, okay? And, getting them the first positive interaction with the human at your company. So let me actually show you how that triager is going to access all of these leads, right? The ones that are booked on, the ones that, have no show to calls, the ones that are new leads coming in from lead forms. Let me actually show you where they're going to be, right? Which is essentially your Go High Level CRM. Okay, so if you don't know what Go High Level is and you've been living under a rock over the past 2 years, then just understand that for the context of this video, Go High Level and the CRM that Go High Level provides is essentially going to be like where you store all of your leads and where you keep track of all of your potential customers, right? So in Go High Level, once you've made your agency account and you've created a sub account for your business, you're going to go to opportunities, right? And you're going to create a new pipeline, right? And in this pipeline, you're going to add a bunch of different stage names, right? And these stage names are going to be as goes. You're going to have a new lead stage. You're going to have an archive lead stage. You're going to have a follow-up for prospects who didn't pick up the triaging call. You're going to have a bucket for people who booked on but need to actually be confirmed, right? So people that self-booked, okay? You're going to have a bucket for calls that have been confirmed by a triager. You're going to have a bucket for follow-up if someone actually books in but they end up canceling their booking. You're going to have another follow-up bucket for prospects who booked on but ended up not showing up to the sales call. And you're going to have the final 3 buckets that really the closer, right? So if that's you and your business that you're going to be dealing with, right? Which is following up post call, right? So maybe you made an offer, but they ended up not closing, okay? If you end up losing a deal and if you ended up closing a deal, right? This is where your triager and your essentially sales team is going to be living. Now, essentially what you want to do, okay, is through Zapier. And if you're not familiar with what Zapier is, okay, Zapier is essentially an automation software, right? That allows you to essentially take leads from one place and move them to another place, or take information rather from one place and move it to another place, right? You're going to automate on Zapier, okay, with Facebook. Now, whenever a new lead comes in through your ad, they'll get added as a new lead. So let me show you what that looks like. Now you can see here that my good friend Funnel Hacking, who just filled out a Facebook lead form out of mine to get access to my VSL landing page, showed up in my new leads bucket. Now you can automate this, right? To actually send a reminder to not only your phone, but also your triager and setter's phone, okay? To essentially let them know, regardless of what it is that they're doing, they need to stop and be dialing these leads within 5 minutes of capture, right? Now, when that triager does dial that lead, okay, and you'll get access to their phone number and everything, right? You can even call them from Go High Level, right? If you have an Australian triager, or if you have a UK triager from a different time zone, right? What you can also do when that triager does dial that lead, okay, is you can allow that triager to move that lead wherever they are, right? So let's say they call them, but they don't pick up, right? So the triager now knows that they need to follow up with them, okay? Let's say that they've been calling them for 5-6 days and still haven't picked up. You can move them into an archive lead, right? Where they're a lower priority on the totem pole now, right? Let's say that you ended up calling them, okay? And they ended up getting a call confirmed, right? You can move them in the call confirmed bucket, okay? And it's moving around, it's glitching a little bit. But essentially, you can move them wherever, okay? Let's say that they end up actually booking in, but they end up canceling, right? You can move them into the follow-up booking canceled bucket. Let's say they book a call, but they end up not showing. You can move them into the follow-up booking no-show, right? And this essentially allows you to keep track of all of your leads, okay? You can't expect to run a business and get a bunch of clients when you don't know where all of your leads are, okay? And it's just going to be too hard. At scale, you're never going to be able to keep track of all the people that you need to be having conversations with to move closer to the needle of actually making a purchase and closing a deal with them. Okay, so let's move Mr. Hacking back into the new leads bucket, right? A triager needs to be calling him, okay? What does that triager say, right? That's what I'll go over now, okay? So I'll give you a quick example, right? A quick rundown of kind of how the conversation should go, okay? If you guys want access to this document with the triager call structure, just DM me on IG, it's my name, and I'll send it over to you. So the call would go something like this. Hey, is this Funnel? Hey Funnel, it's just Cheyenne from Offrater.io. Looks like you had filled out an application about getting more information about adding an additional $50K in monthly revenue to your business. Is that still the case? Okay, awesome. Well, Mr. Hacking, the team has us reach out because everyone comes to us in a different situation. Some are experienced online business owners, some are just getting their wings off the ground, and some are just wanting to add another lead flow stream. I would love to learn a little more about your situation and see if we could help, and if not, just maybe point you in the right direction. Does that work with you? Yeah? Okay, awesome. Okay, so talk to me, man. Tell me about your current business and what you do. Okay. So you run an appointment setting agency. Okay, awesome. And I guess what's your current approach for client acquisition? How are you going about actually growing your business? Okay, I got you. Running ads. And how are ads going for you? Okay. Okay, definitely. And do you think that maybe you could, get that cost per lead up, would you say? Okay, whoa, for sure. 100%, 100%. And you also mentioned you're doing YouTube. How's that going for you? Yeah. Yeah, I've heard they have that problem, man, for sure. So, if you don't mind me asking, man, how much are you currently doing right now, ballpark with your business? Okay, gotcha. Around 15K a month. Understood. So you see what I'm doing there? I'm just starting off, right? With just, making a quick, and it's called the connecting phase in sales, right? Just connecting, right? Immediately building a quick rapport, right? Explaining to them kind of why you're calling, and then figuring out about the current situation, okay? In this current situation, okay, you want to probe, right? You can also ask probing questions to figure out more of their pain points, right? Figure out what exactly it is that they're struggling with, okay? Figure out kind of what they're doing right now to grow their business to see if there's even a need there, right? You don't want to be booking in people that aren't qualified, right? You want to make that very clear to your triager. Only book in people that are potential prospects, right? Potential clients. Now, once you've kind of figured out more about their current situation, right? Like what they're currently doing as a business, what their current approach for client acquisition is, and how much money they're making, right? Then you can actually go into, getting more aware of the problem, right? And you'll get a little bit of this from the current situation if you're talking to someone who's really open, right? But you want to now build the gap, right? You want to kind of build the gap in their head from where they are currently to like where they want to be, right? So this is kind of how that will go. Okay, gotcha, Mr. Hacking. Understood, man. For sure. So like with your current client acquisition, like what challenges are you facing? Okay, well, cost per lead's low. Understood. Uh-huh. Okay, for sure. So with that creative you're talking about, like have you just out of curiosity, have you like tried maybe split testing different creatives? Oh, you haven't. Oh, well, okay. Well, just out of curiosity, why not exactly? Oh, you didn't know you needed to do that. Okay, well, yeah, not a problem, man. What I'd recommend is really try, split testing a bunch of different creatives because you're telling me that you have around a minute and a half ad. You also want to try like maybe a shorter ad, like maybe 45 seconds or so. With the YouTube, have you also tried implementing some top of funnel content to actually, grow your audience so that you can then, nurture them with the bottom of funnel content that you said you're doing now? Oh, you thought you only needed value videos. Okay, understood. See what I'm doing there? Just kind of figuring out what problems they're having, right? And just kind of curiously asking why they haven't been doing certain processes that they could benefit from, right? Now, kind of once you figured out those problems, okay, and once you figured out what their current situation is, okay, and what kind of problems they're facing, okay, you want to start transitioning into getting them booked on. So let me kind of show you how that would go. Okay, awesome, man. Thank you so much for sharing. So, this is really why we exist, right? It's to help people like yourself who are already semi-successful business owners, right? Who are making around 10, 15, 20K a month, okay, but are struggling with their fulfillment model, right? Are struggling to really break through the barrier of those 3, 4 clients, okay, and and create a business that can serve them for the rest of their life, making a multiple seven-figure run rate, right? And it allows, and we help these people, install a proven client acquisition system so they can really run the business of their dreams. So the next steps from here is we would let you schedule a little bit of a longer call with an advisor to talk and go more deeper, I guess, into the specific strategy for your business and really get a deep audit of your current infrastructure so that we can help you get more leads and get more deals these next couple of months. Do you think that would be appropriate? Right? Always ask them if they think it'd be appropriate. Okay, you never want to tell them, hey, we're going to be booking a call. You want to put the ball in their court. Ask them if it'd be appropriate, right? Or ask them where they would like to go from there. Okay. If they said yes, okay, awesome. Let me pull up your schedule. Okay. Then you ask them what their time zone is. Okay. And you essentially, okay, leave a strong last impression, right? So, be super affirmative. Okay. And I'll actually show you how this goes. So let's say Mr. Hacking is bought in, right? He really wants to book in. Okay. Then you can say something like, awesome, man. Tomorrow at 7 o'clock. Okay, great. Did my calendar invite come in? All right, awesome. Locked it in, man. So now typically before these meets, right, we send you a complete breakdown of how our strategy works, so you're actually familiar with how we operate, and some past client case studies as well, just so you have some level of understanding. So if I send that your way, would you be able to watch and review that before you speak with us on the 7th? Perfect. Okay. And you're going to see some meeting confirmation texts and emails come prior to our call. So if you need to reschedule or cancel, we totally understand things come up. Okay, we're both business owners here. So I'm aware how valuable your time actually is. So if something comes up, will you just let us know before our call so we can accommodate? Awesome, man. All right. Well, that's all I've got, man. Until then, all the best. Right. And you can see here what I've actually done is I've crossed out any other questions or thoughts while you have me. Okay. And the reason I've written this but crossed it out is because you do not want to say this, right? You do not want to have your prospect, okay, thinking, okay, oh, well, actually, like, what if this happens, or how do y'all go about doing this? And you don't want that, right? You want the closer, okay, which is more than likely if you're a founder and you're not making over, 50 to 100K a month, it's likely you closing deals, okay? You want the closer handling that on the back end, right? You don't want them thinking too much before the actual sales call, right? You want to just leave off on a strong note just like that. Now, if when your triager asked the prospect if they wanted to move forward and they said no, then you have to review this call, right? It's super important that you're reviewing calls regularly with your triagers, okay? To make sure that they're not saying stupid stuff, right? Like making sure they're not saying stuff to lower the frame, not saying stuff where they're not listening, right? Or really just screwing up the call, right? So if you do say no, okay, you can handle that objection by kind of figuring out why it's a no, right? Sometimes it'll just be like, oh, I'm just really busy, and then it'll just be a matter of like working out the times. But more often than not, when they say no, it's going to be a prospect who doesn't show up to the call, right? So you don't want to force people on to a sales call with you, especially if they're not interested in the 5 to 10 minute conversation that your triager's having with them. So that's kind of how a triaging call goes when you have a lead like opt into a Facebook forum, for example, right? But a small percentage of the time, okay, and especially if you're doing YouTube, you get a lot of these, right? You're gonna have people that self-book, okay? So that's when you want to actually have a confirmation call, okay? And essentially confirm that appointment that they just booked in for, right? So these confirmation calls, like I said, okay, are mainly to be done when leads self-book their appointment without the triager actually calling them and setting it, okay? So speed to lead here is also extremely important, right? 3 to 5 minutes into the lead booking an appointment themselves, your triager needs to be calling them for a confirmation. And the purpose of this is to first increase the show up rate by getting more commitment from the prospect, by having them actually speak to a real human from the company, right? And having a real personalized approach to their appointment, right? And second is to set the expectations that they'll be calling you, right? To remind them of your appointment beforehand, right? So again, not only is your triager just setting and confirming appointments, but they're also going to be calling and reminding them, right? So let me kind of show you how this confirmation call script goes. Hey Funnel, how are you? Awesome, man. Yeah, this is Cheyenne from the Offrater.io team, and I saw that you booked a consultation call for our client acquisition infrastructure offer. And I just want to confirm with you that your email is funnelhacking@gmail.com, correct? Awesome. And that you booked a call with our senior consultant tomorrow at 7 o'clock. Perfect. Perfect, Funnel. Okay, awesome, man. Well, I just wanted to let you know that this is going to be a Zoom call for us to be able to share our screen with you and kind of walk you through how we go about getting, an additional 50K in revenue for our clients' businesses, just so you have some more context. Could you check for me that you actually received an email with the Zoom link? Perfect. Okay, awesome. And one last thing just before letting you go. Approximately 2 hours prior to the call, I'll just be calling you again just to remind you of our appointment, as I know how busy you might be, and it'll just be to give you a reminder. Is that okay? Perfect, man. Awesome. See you then. Right? Very simple. Very simple. Just, setting the frame, okay? Letting them know that, hey, this is going to be a Zoom call. We're going to be explaining some different processes to you, okay? And I'm also going to be calling you, right, prior to the call just to remind you. So be looking forward to that. Now, in terms of the frequency of calling, you want the confirmation call to be a minimum of 3 calls within the first 24 hours if they're not replying, okay? With the first call being in the first 3 to 5 minutes of the prospect actually booking the call. And the reminder call, again, you want this 2 hours prior to the call if they didn't reply, and then 90 minutes prior, and then 60 minutes prior, right? And you can also have your triager actually text these people as well, because you have their phone number from the Go High Level CRM. Now, I mentioned earlier that you can automate all this, right? Where the second the lead comes in, okay, you and your triaging team is actually notified, right? And you do this through Zapier, and I prefer doing it through Discord. Okay, so what you can actually do, right, is you can set up an automation in Zapier, right? Connect it to your Facebook lead form, okay? And connect it to Discord as well. But the second the new lead comes in, okay, you can get all their information, right? You can get their name, their email, their phone number, right? If they're meeting your qualifier, okay? And whatever it may be, okay? So whatever other information you want, right? You can also see what ad campaign they're coming from, the ad set name, the ad name, also just to really keep track of your data. You can also see here that every single one of these entries from Zapier, okay, has reactions next to them, right? You can see there's a phone and an X. You can see this one has a phone and a woman crossing her arms. Same thing here, right? A phone and then a no dial, right? And you can see all these different reactions. So I've actually created these SOPs, right? Where essentially you can have your triager, right, react to every message so you know that they're staying on top of their work, right? So you can see here, right? You'll have different reactions based on the outcome, right? So for example, if it's an invalid phone number, right, then you can put this emoji, right? If you reached out with SMS, then you can put this emoji. If you phone called, okay, then you can put this, and every single one should have a phone call because you're calling every number, right? Maybe they're unavailable to talk now, but you can call them back at like a later time. You can have the recycle emoji, right? You can have an X emoji for didn't picking up the call, right? You can have the calendar set, and you can have the call booked. There's a bunch of different ways you can go about it, right? And I'm not going to go super in detail with this, right? But here's the order of priority to contact leads that I would do, right? So I would first have my triager, okay, call every new lead. That's number one priority, okay? Confirmation call is number two priority. Reminding people of their calls once they're booked on is number three, okay? Then it's no-shows, and then it's follow-ups. And you can see here that not only have we automated this for new leads, but we've also automated this for people that have booking calls, right? You can see Augustia booked in a call with me. You can see Funnel Hacking booked in a call with me, right? And then the same thing for calls no-showing, right? You want everything in one central place that you can just, go to immediately, okay, to get notified and to kind of keep track of everything, right? Without having to go on a go high level over and over again, right? But really, your Discord, your company Discord and your company go high level is where you're going to keep track of all of your leads, right? Discord's kind of how you get notified about new leads, and go high level is where you can really see your entire pipeline and see where you're having a lot of leads and seeing where you can optimize parts of your funnel. So again, if you want access to all these scripts and SOPs, then you can DM me on Instagram and I'll send it over to you for free. Or if you want me to install it completely for you, right, automate your entire business as well, you can book in a call in the description below and we can talk about that. Okay, so moving on to step number 6, which is email nurturing sequences, right? Now, to kind of understand why you need these, right? And for context, these email nurturing sequences are going to be sent out for anyone who books in a call with your team, okay? Then you need to understand one of the most powerful concepts in sales and marketing ever, okay, which is the 7-hour rule, right? So in 2015, Daniel Priestley, who is one of the smartest marketers in the world, by the way, okay, shared one of the most powerful concepts in sales and marketing ever in his book Oversubscribed. And the core premise was that it takes 7 hours of cumulative interaction time between a lead and a company to build the necessary trust for them to want to buy your product or service. The problem is that through a lead format or just one YouTube video, prospects won't even have close to the 7 hours of cumulative interaction time that they need, right? Which means that the chance of converting them into a paying customer is significantly against the odds. So what's the solution here? Well, option number 1, okay, is you could run like a complex YouTube social funnel, right? With top of the funnel content to attract a lot of viewers, okay, that CTAs to middle of the funnel content, and then middle of funnel content that CTAs to bottom of funnel content, with bottom of funnel content that CTAs to a free training, and that CTAs to a calendar booking page, right? So just a super, super complex social funnel on YouTube, right? Or, okay, if you want to do short form, you could create a complex social funnel on Instagram, okay, with top of the funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel content, right? Trying to funnel that into a free training with retargeting ads and setters and, people starting conversations in your DMs, okay, or onto YouTube, right? You can do all this stuff, okay, and I honestly would recommend it, right? You really should have like a complex ecosystem for your personal brand, okay? Now, while this does work wonderfully, this takes a much longer time to start seeing wins with, right? And you, okay, if you're watching this video, want to see 10 high-ticket clients in your business in the next 30 days after implementing these processes, right? So the solution, okay, and the much quicker solution is this. It's through your email nurturing sequences, right? That can accomplish a similar effect, okay, with simple emails that funnel book prospects to consume more of our content and see us as more of an authority, right? So it's getting prospects booked on, and then once they're booked on, right, it's getting them a bunch of value and getting them as close to the 7 hours that they need as we can. Right? Now, this could include case study interviews, right? Breakdowns of internal processes, right? Kind of what I'm doing in this video right now. And just straight value videos that frame you as an expert that can help solve their problems, right? And the best part is that because you've already gotten their email, because you've already gotten their contact information, you can automate this, right? You can automate the sending of this value through Go High Level or Calendly. So let me actually show you how I've done this for my business. So you can see here that when you're back in Go High Level, right, and you go to the automations tab in your sub account, then you can actually set these up for yourself, right? So I've got a bunch of different ones. I've got ones for when people end up actually booking on, for if they end up no-showing, for if they end up canceling. Let me actually show you all of them, right? So starting with the booking confirmed, you can see here that the second someone ends up booking in an appointment, right, I have a trigger that essentially takes them, okay, or rather a trigger that essentially starts this automation, right? Where it'll start with an internal notification, right? Where I'll be notified that I got a new strategy call, right? This will allow me to prepare. This will allow me to actually get ready for that call, okay? Then they get a 24-hour reminder email, okay? So 24 hours before that call, okay, the prospect is gonna get an email, right? Essentially telling them, hey, just touching down about tomorrow's call. To hold your spot, please reply, I'll be there to confirm. Okay, you want to get verbal confirmation that they're going to be there. Okay, it's letting them know that, hey, these are in very high demand, so if you can't make it, please reschedule, right? And then, okay, it's telling them, hey, in the meantime, right, while you're waiting for a meeting, just check out this video showing how one of our clients, Sarvesh, collected 16.2K in cash in just 7 days without any ad spend, strictly organic traffic, right? So kind of attacking a common pain point that people have in our industry, right? Which is, I have to spend so much on ads to acquire clients. And I tell them, well, one of our clients, Sarvesh, actually collected 16K in 7 days. No ad spend, only organic traffic, right? How awesome is that? And I show them a video of me breaking down that internal process, right? Let me actually show you what that looks like. You can see here that that link literally just leads to another video on my YouTube channel, right? A video that I made 2 months ago, okay? Detailing how I got Sarvesh that result, okay? Now I actually do the same thing on SMS, right? Now if you're automating this through Calendly, then you're gonna have a less character count, right? But if you're doing it on Go High Level, you can literally send the exact same message, right? And sometimes it won't let you send you a link, so you can tell them, hey, just check your email for this video, right? So covering them on 2 bases, okay? I do the same thing for 12 hours, right? I talk about how ETN, okay, hit 43K a month easily, okay? Talking about how all he did was turn his commoditized appointment setting agency, right, into a build and release infrastructure. And I show them the systems in a fast-paced video that I made specifically for this email campaign, right? This one isn't even on my YouTube, okay? And again, I do the same thing through SMS. So really, right, it's just providing value, okay, in the email, right, getting them more familiar with you, with your process, with your systems. Right now, if you have a lot of case study videos, you can even do more. You can do one at 24 hours, you can do one at 18 hours, another at 12, another at 8, right? I try not to go super spammy, right? So I just do one at 24, another at 12, and I just send out reminders for the rest of them, right? So a 4-hour reminder, just essentially telling them, hey, just please make sure you're in front of a computer and tablet, okay? And somewhere as quiet as possible, just 5 minutes before the time. Right, we'll also have, triagers calling them as well. So the triagers, the email, and the SMS all combined, right, it actually increases your show up rate by 2 or 3x is what you'll find. Now that's just for if someone books on, right? I've also done a similar thing for when a booking is canceled, right? So let's say someone books on, okay, and they end up canceling their booking through Calendar or through Calendly, right? That will actually automate this trigger, right, where they'll get a tag added, and the second that tag's added, okay, they'll get these emails, right? So something like, hey, funnel hacking, I saw that you canceled our meeting together. Just wanted to share with you this link to reschedule our meeting. Based on what you filled out on the forum, I believe we can provide you with some great insights. So I'm looking forward to speaking with you soon, right? So it does that one time, waits, next day does the same thing, okay? After that, does this thing as well, right? And it's coming from your email, so it seems like extremely personalized. And then if they end up no showing, right, we've also got a similar flow. So this is actually triggered by you manually, right? So let's say I'm on a sales call, okay, and 10 minutes into it, the prospect still hasn't showed up. What I would do is I would actually move that opportunity in Go High Level into the no-show bucket, okay? And what that will essentially do is it will give them a tag, right, and it will send them these emails, right, this email drip. Something like, hey, funnel hacking, it seems like you couldn't make it to our implementation call today. Just wanted to share with you this link to reschedule our meeting, right, based on what you filled on the forum and the previous conversation you had with my team member. I believe we can provide you some great insights. So I'm looking forward to speaking with you soon, right? Doing the same thing on SMS, right? And then also following up as well, right here, following up number 1, following up number 2, and then even following up a third time, right? Saying something like, Mr. Hacking, I haven't heard back from you, which tells me one of 2 things. Number 1, something serious happened to you and I need to reach out to someone to check in and make sure everything is okay. Or number 2, you just didn't show up and aren't interested in an additional 50K in monthly revenue in the next 90 days. I hope everything is okay. Could you please do me a solid and just get back to me and let me know if I should stop following up or if you need to reschedule, right? So when you put a message like this, more often than not, they're going to reply. So these Go High Level flows that not only nurture your leads, right, when they're actually booked on, but also things that get them back into the stage of the pipeline that we want, right, which is in the call confirm stage. You have stuff for that in the no-show and the canceled opportunities. Okay. So that is the 6-step process to sign 10 new high-ticket clients, and expensive high-ticket clients that is, in just 30 days. Right now, to be very clear, okay, this is 30 days after implementing all of these processes, right? This is 30 days after creating your new offer, after making your process selling VSL, after implementing, the nurturing sequences, after running your ad campaign, right? It's 30 days after that point that you can actually expect to sign 10 new high-ticket clients in 30 days, right? But that can actually take a very long time, right? So if you're kind of wanting to speed up that process, okay, and you're wondering how exactly you can figure out how to actually get to implement all of these complex automations, how you can actually set up your ad campaign and targeting based on your specific industry, and how exactly you can convert all of these consultations that you're getting into paying customers, or you just want your new offer created completely done for you and scale to 50K a month and beyond guaranteed, then all you need to do is head to the first link in the description, right? I'll just give you my entire business infrastructure and I'll help build an infrastructure for you so that not only can you use it to attract clients for yourself, but you can also sell that infrastructure to your clients as part of your delivery fulfillment as well, right? And overall, you just want me to come into your business and solve every single bottleneck that you have, right? Completely bridge the gap from your current situation, wherever that may be, right? Whether it's making zero and just starting off, or maybe you're already making 10, 15, 20K a month, and you're looking to scale to 50 and 100K a month and beyond, right? Then I've got something for you. So if that sounds like something that could potentially interest you, then head to the first link in the description. But if not, subscribe for more value, and I'll see you guys in the next one.